Hi, this is Lisa Kelly, Notre Dame author and class of 1993, and you are watching the Two Irish Brothers show. Cheers and go Irish.
But Waters finds a hole, one man to beat, he's gone. Ricky Waters makes like Tim Brown on his first punt return. There are no penalties.
How's it going, everyone? I am Sean Moriarty.
I'm Benjamin Walters.
And this is the Two Irish Brothers show. Now, you guys know what to do. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we are closing in on 800 subs, so help us reach that goal. And then like or dislike the video, which helps with the algorithm, and hit that bell icon so you know whenever Ben and I post a new video, like we're doing now. So, getting right into this week, Ben. And I got to say first, it's hard to imagine that this is the last game of the regular season for 2023.
Yeah, it's gone fast, hasn't it?
Oh, very much so. It was like I was just in Ireland yesterday, it feels like, for the Navy game.
Yeah.
And now here we are, one final regular season game for 2023, and then the bowl game to follow, which I can't believe it's amazing how fast time goes. And I've said that a million times, I know, but it's just so hard to fathom sometimes.
Yeah.
So with this final game of the regular season, Stanford, the Stanford Cardinal, and one word comes to mind for me, Ben: revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Those sons of bitches last year, and everybody remembers this because I posted a video about it after we lost to them last year, which
very angry video.
Very angry video. So if you thought me saying sons of bitches was bad, go back and watch that video from last year. It's about 4 minutes long. You guys will find it. But I was angry. I was angry. This team embarrassed us last year. It was a joke that we even lost to the Cardinal last year. We never should have lost to them last year. And we better not lose to them this year, or else there's something seriously wrong.
Yeah.
But we had... All I know is even when we came into the USC game last year at 9-2, we still had a chance at an NY6 bowl game then.
Yeah.
And I think had we not lost to Stanford, we probably would have played in one last year.
Potentially, yes.
Potentially, yes. But you know what? That was last year. This is this year. Revenge is on the table. We go play them at Palo Alto.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to say this too. We got to mention before I forget this. The game is not on TV. It's on TV, but it's not on basic cable. It's on the Pac-12 network. Mm-hmm. So I hope everybody has their streaming services ready. Yeah. But I can understand why, though. It's a 3-8 Stanford team.
Yeah,
it's a Notre Dame team with 3 losses, which everybody was expecting us to do better than that. So part of me can kind of understand it, but like it's still Notre Dame. Why would you not put that on national TV, especially Thanksgiving weekend? It makes no sense to me, but whatever. So let's get to breaking down this Cardinal team. First of all, they suck. I'm sorry. I think about that game last year, and I am pissed, dude.
Well, that's the thing. We can't let that happen again this year because this Stanford Cardinal team is dangerous. That's the thing. Like, this 2-8 record is kind of a smokescreen in a way because this Stanford team has the roster to hang with a team like Notre Dame. This is a Stanford team that gave Washington, 5th-ranked Washington, who just jumped Florida State in the college football playoff poll, who is the 4th team in, fits. And it took everything Washington had to beat the Stanford Cardinal. So this is a Cardinal team that, yeah, they have a loss to Sacramento State, and yeah, they had a come from behind victory against Colorado in double overtime, but this is a Stanford team that if you keep them in the game and you let them have a chance, they're going to bite you. And it very much worries me because Notre Dame still has yet to prove us wrong in the thinking that we play down to our opponents. Sorry, we play down to our opponents. There are too many games on Notre Dame's schedule where there's a team that we play year in, year out that should never be in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the MAC schools we've played, Marshall beating us, Stanford beating us, that's just not how it rolls and not how it should roll, I guess is the right way of saying it. So gotta be careful. We have to be very, very, very careful. Question for you: does Rick Meyer's son still play for Stanford, or is he finally graduated and moved on?
I don't know. Let's check out the
Rick Meyer's son was playing for Stanford. He was with them last year. But yeah, I mean, Stanford, they're 2-8. They have nothing to lose here. This is their bowl game. This is their final chance of doing something with a very, very bad season that is this 2023 season for them. And that they would do nothing or hope for nothing less than knocking off Notre Dame and just sending our season down the absolute crapper.
Well, I mean, we've gone down as far as we can possibly go. I mean, right now we
could be unranked. So, I mean,
yeah, we could exactly.
There's still further to drop.
We could be unranked. They could knock us out of the rankings. They could knock us even lower on the bowl tier, because that's what we're playing for right now. Is we're playing to stay ranked and to play in the best possible bowl game that we can get. Right. And I know that the most projections have us going down to Florida to play in one of those the two sponsor only bowls that I hate, but we'll cover that when the time gets here. So yeah, I mean, we're playing to get the best possible outcome for our postseason, and hopefully it's against a decent opponent too. And there's a lot of talk that it could be LSU if things work out, but again, we'll cover that later. But yeah, we're trying to finish the regular season 9-3, get a bowl victory, and finish with 10 wins in the season, which would be, maybe some fans in our fan base won't see it this way, but it's still a 10-win season. It's double-digit wins. That's what we're playing for right now. We're playing for, some respect. We're playing to show that, hey, this football team is moving forward. But when you talk about an opponent like Stanford, we were talking about playing down to our opponents, which we've done, and even a couple times this year as well. Of our 3 losses, I will say this. None of those 3 losses are against teams that surprise me. Okay, we were capable of beating Clemson and Ohio State, but am I surprised that we lost to them? No. Even a 4-4 Clemson team, they're still a good team. They're still Clemson. Going into Death Valley is never easy, and that showed. Louisville doesn't really surprise me because, well, that team has obviously performed very well this season.
Right, 10-1.
So none of those teams are embarrassing to lose to. Unlike last year with Marshall and Stanford, we lose to Stanford this year. Yeah, that's going to be embarrassing. But let's break down some of the playmakers as we usually do for our opponent. So with Stanford, as always, I love to start with the quarterback. Ashton Daniels, the top quarterback, 176 on 300 passing attempts for 2,095 yards, 11 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, been sacked 23 times.
Yeah.
So that says a lot right there. I always like to look at that sack category. How many times has this quarterback been sacked? Because that says a lot about the protection that he has. So that's obvious. That's obvious. A very key spot in this game is, as we always say, winning the battle in the trenches. So got to put the pressure on. We talk about, let's move on to the running game. Ashton Daniels leads the way there as well. And
dual threat.
Yeah, dual threat quarterback. But man, dude, look at this running back core. I mean, it's very aside from Ashton Daniels, they really, stat wise, it gets spread out quite a bit. The non quarterback, Justin Lamson, he leads the way with 252 yards, 4 touchdowns. Behind him is Emmett Smith's son, EJ Smith, 217 yards, 1 touchdown. And so it's very well kind of spread out. But what's funny is you look at these numbers for all the rushers: 295, 252, 217, 215, 113. It's not very stable back there, Ben.
No. Stanford has lots of issues all across the board. Like, this is a team that is very much trying to reestablish their identity and has very much struggled in recent years with that. So, but we can't take them lightly. We can't. I mean, Ashton will carve us up if we let him. And that's the thing. Like, our defense has to come to play again. I mean, unfortunately, that's how it's rolling with Notre Dame right now, is that the offense has its spots and has its moments where it looks really, really good. But then there's also the times where the offense looks very, very putrid and very mediocre.
Yes.
And if the offense can't get it going, then it has to be the defense that steps up. And, defense puts you in good spots. And if the defense can put us in a decent spot, then hopefully the offense can rock and roll against this very, very putrid Stanford defense.
Well, and also going back to Stanford's offense for a second, Daniels does have one true legit target to throw to, and that's Alec Ayamanar. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's been a big go-to for the Cardinal. He has 955 yards on 55 receptions for 6 touchdowns, which that's a pretty good stat line.
Yeah.
And then right behind him, you have Tiger Backmeyer. I hope I'm, again, I may be butchering some of these names, people, but I try my best. He's chipped in with 409 yards on 36 catches and 2 touchdowns. So you got some threats on their receiving core, but yeah, you can't take the team lightly, but this team is a mess.
Yes.
And this, honestly, this should be like the Pitt game and Wake Forest.
Should be, yes.
Yeah, it should be, but what should be and what happens on the field are two different things.
Right.
So obviously we're Notre Dame is very heavily favored in this one. We oh geez, I don't know. I almost think I'm getting too cocky here, but we should destroy this team. I'm just going to flat out say it.
Yeah, you're right. We should. A 3-8 Stanford team overall, 2-8 if you just count conference games. We should beat them. Yes, we should. And that's stress there. We should have beaten Marshall. We should have beaten Stanford last year. We should have beaten Clemson. Clemson didn't beat us. We beat ourselves in the Clemson game. Same with the Ohio State game. We should have beaten Ohio State. Ohio State beat us, or didn't beat us. We beat ourselves. Louisville beat us. Louisville, in my opinion, is the only team that I can say on the schedule this year that has legit beaten Notre Dame and not Notre Dame beat itself. So, yeah, we should. We absolutely should. And I hope that we do. And I hope that Freeman stresses that, look, you got to finish strong. This is where the cards are at, and this is where we're going towards, and we're going towards a decent bowl game. One last shot to send these seniors out on a high note as opposed to a sour low note.
Exactly.
And, the senior class is 2-2 against Stanford if we win tomorrow, or win on Saturday, I should say. So,
which I really find that hard to believe that this group is 2-2 against Stanford. That is,
it's sad, that a team this isn't the Stanford team that had Christian McCaffrey. This isn't the Stanford team that had Andrew Luck and Richard Sherman and Toby Gerhardt. This is a Stanford team that has been very down on their luck, a doormat of the Pac-12 recently in football. And yet we struggle to beat them. It just, I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way and irks me, but I want to end on a positive note. So yeah, I mean, I have all the faith in the world that Hartman lights them up. I think this offense rocks and rolls. They give up a decent amount in the passing game. And You know, if we can get on them early, I think that we have a legitimate shot of just absolutely rolling them. But we can't keep them in the game, and we can't let them stay in it.
No. And that's essentially what this game is going to come down to is don't beat ourselves. Don't let it become a game. Just go in there and play smash mouth football and knock them straight on their ass.
Yeah.
That's the only way we lose this game is if we beat ourselves. If we don't do what we know what we're supposed to do, then it's going to be a long day, but it really shouldn't. And I know so many people are going to watch it and think, so many people are going to watch and think, Sean, you're talking crazy.
Yeah.
Am I really? We've seen this happen before, as we already pointed out, where we take a team lightly and they beat us. So you got to go in, even as an analyst, if you want to call us that, you got to go in, we'll say podcaster. How about that? You got to go in each game as a fan and a podcaster, treating every team like they're a top dog. That's just how you have to do that. That's how football works.
Yeah.
So with that said, score prediction time.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this is the homer inside me talking, but I hope we put up 60 on them.
That would be awesome.
But
I would really love that.
My score prediction for this game, I'm going to say Notre Dame 52, Stanford 14.
Okay. I like it. We're in about the same general vicinity. I say Notre Dame 45, Stanford 10.
Nice. I like it. Just beat Stanford's ass and give all of us Notre Dame fans a very happy Thanksgiving. And we hope all of you guys out there have a happy Thanksgiving as well.
A very happy Thanksgiving would be Ohio State beating Michigan, because obviously let's say this. Okay. Whoever wins between Ohio State and Michigan this upcoming weekend wins the Big Ten. I mean, I know that's not the championship, but it is. And nothing would make me happier than seeing Ohio State beat Michigan, silence that extremely arrogant fan base is going on right now, put it in Harbaugh's face, even though he's not going to be coaching, and make our schedule a little bit stronger, saying that we lost to the Big Ten champion. So, yeah.
And just come on. We this is where I think every conference needs to go to pods or something. At least the Big 12 is doing it right. But that's an absolute joke.
Well, they did it right the first time with the Big Ten realignment. They had Ohio State and Michigan on two separate sides of the conference.
Oh, when it was,
and they made it where it was like the third Saturday in October with Alabama and Tennessee. Even though they're in two different sides of the conference, they play each other every year. So you would still keep that rivalry. And I don't know why they did that, because in years past, it's always been Ohio State and Michigan fighting for the championship. I mean, I'm sorry, even before they went to a championship game, it was those two teams. The matchup basically decided that conference. Why they put them in the same division is beyond me, because now whoever wins is going to play Iowa and kill Iowa in the Big Ten championship. I'm sorry.
Whoever Iowa plays, they're going to get their asses kicked. I mean, I actually like saying it because I'm not a huge
you can't
Iowa
stand
fan.
Iowa, but I mean, Iowa has a defense. They just don't have an offense. If they had an offense, they'd actually be somewhat decent in a threat, but they don't have any offense. So anyway, we've gone on too long about the Big Ten and not Notre Dame. So yeah. So anyway, yep, that's our score predictions. I hope it. I hope so much that we get Stanford good and we finish the season off good and we get a decent bowl game. I wouldn't mind LSU. I know it'll be a sponsored bowl, and I know that we both have strong feelings about those bowl games, but nothing would make me happier than to play LSU, and nothing would make me happier than to beat LSU and Brian Kelly.
Well, all I know is this, as far as Stanford goes, payback is a bitch. And point number 2 with the bowl game, one of two things is going to happen with that. And you know me on this. Even if it is a sponsored bowl game, I'm going to make up a name for it. And I'll make a poster and everything. And number 2, hey, you never know. There could be at large spots that open up. We could actually get a good bowl game like the Citrus or the Gator or whatever. I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep, depends on how the cards fall on who loses and who wins.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Like I said a million times, if they just gave the bowl games their own names and kept the sponsors separate, I'd be okay with it. Maybe people are sick and tired of hearing that, but that's something I'm passionate about for real. So with that said, everyone, I'm Sean Moriarty.
I'm Benjamin Walters.
And as we always say, good night, God bless, and go Irish.
Go Irish. Beat Stanford.